a lot of chatter, folks. All right, so last week we started working with customary units of measurement and metric units of measurement. Remember, customary is what we're used to. We talk about feet, we talk about yards, we talk about pounds, we talk about cups and quarts and gallons, okay? Those are the customary units. We also have the metric unit, and we talked very briefly about liters and milliliters. Okay, how many milliliters are in 1 liter? Okay, there's 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. So if I have 7 liters, I have how many milliliters? 7,000. Okay, if I have 3,000 milliliters, how many liters do I have? 3. Okay? It's important that you understand whenever we're talking about the metric, that prefix milli means per thousand. Okay? Because as we talk today, we're going to get away from that volume measurement, how much something holds, and now we're going to talk about how much something weighs. Okay? We're used to dealing with weight in ounces and pounds, right? Okay? You don't go home and say, Mom, I weigh 36 milligrams. First of all, you would be very teeny tiny, but that's just not what we do. You might go home and say, Mom, I weigh 76 pounds. Okay? But today we're going to talk about converting back and forth with weight. So, remember, when we talk about cups and gallons and quarts and the customary, and we talk about liters and we talk about milliliters, those are units of volume, how much something holds. Okay? Now we're going to talk about how much something weighs. So, you should be able to convert back and forth between pounds and ounces and tons, and then also when we talk about the metric unit, because this one they put them both together, between kilograms, grams, and milligrams. Okay? That's my goal for you at the end. And we're going to get as far as we can get today, but I need to draw your attention to the top of the page 352, the chart. Okay? It tells us that 16 ounces equals 1 pound. Okay? Now, is this customary or is this metric? Yeah, it's going to be customary. Okay? It also tells us that there are 2,000 pounds, and we abbreviate pounds with LBS. Okay? Do you all know that? If you didn't, now you do. Okay? I really can't explain to you why they chose to abbreviate it as LBS, because
it doesn't spell pounds, does it?
No. Okay? But 2,000 pounds is equal to 1 ton. That's a lot of weight. Okay?
Think of an elephant in tons.
Yeah. An elephant would be a big animal that would probably weigh tons. It weighs a ton. Okay? Alright, so these would be our customary. So these are the basic units that we're going to convert between. Okay? So, here's a brain buster for you. If I wanted to figure out how many ounces are in a ton, how would I do that?
16 divided by...
What I want to divide, because divide's going to get it smaller. I'm going from a small unit and I want to go to a big unit.
16 times 2,000.
Yeah, because I'm going to need 16 for pound 1, 16 for pound 2, 16 for pound 3, all the way till I get to 2,000. I could repeat addition that 2,000 times, couldn't I? Wouldn't make much sense, but I could do it. Okay? So, just out of curiosity, if I wanted to know how many ounces are in I wanted to know how many ounces are in a ton, I would take 2,000 times 16. Can anybody tell me a shortcut how to do this? Derek, are you with me? 352. Emma?
2 times 16 is 32, and then I add 3 zeros.
Okay. She knows that since I have a power of 10 here, I could just multiply this whole number 16 times my digit out here 2. 16 times 2 is 32, and then I'm going to add 3 zeros. So, there are 32,000 ounces in 1 ton. Okay, that's quite a bit. 32,000 ounces makes 1 ton. 16 ounces makes 1 pound. At least somebody was with me. 2,000 pounds makes 1 ton. Okay. Alright, so that's one that we're going to talk about. And then it tells us we're going to talk about mass. Okay? Which is metric style weight. Okay? The chart tells us there are 1,000 milligrams. Hear that word milli again? Milliliters, there were 1,000. So milligrams, there's going to be, okay? Now see if you can figure this one out. There were 1,000 milliliters per liter. There's 1,000 milligrams per, you guys are so smart, per gram, okay? And then it tells us there's 1,000 grams per kilogram. Whoops. Alright. Whoops, I didn't realize I was writing off the page. Alright, so there's 1,000 milligrams per 1 gram. And then there's 1,000 grams per 1 kilogram. So how would I figure out how many milligrams are in a kilogram? How would I figure that out? If you guys need to scoot back so you can see the board, I'm totally fine with that. Same thing for you guys over here. Okay? Think about how we did it up here. If I wanted to know how many ounces were in a ton, I multiplied 2,000 times 16. Here I want to know how many milligrams are in a kilogram. What do you think?
1 milligram would be 1,000 and then we would take, because 1 gram goes into a kilogram, so it would be
No.
Would be 1 times 1 plus how many zeros? So write that down.
What's that number? Huh?
What do you say?
100,000.
No. 6 zeros.
Look here. Some of you are a little bit lost. Carson's on the right track. Some of you are a little bit lost about how he's coming up with that, though. Here I multiplied 2,000 times 16. Here I'm going to multiply 1,000 times. 1 times 1 is what? How many zeros?
6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, comma, 1 million.
So there is 1 million milligrams in 1 kilogram, or they abbreviated kg. So it's all about understanding multiplication, understanding which part is smaller, okay? There's not really a big trick that I can show you. Some of this is just going to be little parts that you have to memorize that are going to make it easier, okay? If you can promise me that you'll memorize there are 16 ounces in 1 pound and there are 2,000 pounds in a ton, you'll be able to convert any of it, okay? But you have to memorize these 2 parts first. Same thing goes for down here. If you can promise me that you'll memorize there's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram, and there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram, you'll be able to convert any of it. Okay? A little bit later, when I'm finished meeting with some of you on cups and gallons and quarts and pints, I will teach you the 4 basic measurements again, and if you can memorize those 4 basic measurements, you can convert to anything. It'll take a little bit of work to get there, but you can get there. Okay? So, what they want us to be able to do in this lesson, if we look across the top, they're going to want us to think logically about this. What measurement would I use to weigh something? Okay? Obviously, a milligram is really, really, really light. Okay? So when we think about this, it's saying which customary unit is best to measure the weight of each object. So, would I measure a bulldozer in pounds, tons, or ounces? Tons. Okay? Would I measure how much an envelope weighs in ounces, pounds, or tons? Okay? You have to know, when I say customary, this is what I'm talking about. When I say metric, this is what I'm talking about. Okay? You have to know which is which. And a lot of that can come if you just think about the words. Okay? So then, like the bottom part says, if I want to know how much a nail weighs, would I weigh that in milligrams, grams, or kilograms? A nail. I would probably weigh that in grams. Okay? If I want to know how much a car weighs, probably tons. Okay? So, what I want you to do is I want you to look in your textbook. I want you to look at your textbook, and I want you to do numbers 7 to 21 odd on page 352. I will let you work on it right now. You're doing 7 to 21 odd. That does not mean you're talking. If I'm going to give you class time to work, you better work. I want it on a sheet of paper.